Hey there, Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project. Anyway, I've been kind of struggling with some stuff for a long time, making a trip down somewhere that I need to go, and it for good. But I've been kind of really afraid of what I would find and the processes that are going to be necessary in order to kind of release some of the last things that I'm holding on to. And, having been a star kid my whole life, not like this world, kind of out of this world, I've worked on being normal, or as normal could be. And sometimes those walls are stronger because they've been over a long period of time, but I'm breaking them down. So I'm in the process of listening to Spirit, the Creator, and getting ready to go on a really, really important journey. So there was starting in like 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, maybe even to 2005. I don't know. Sometimes I can't stop it. Shh. Sometimes I can't remember exactly or how long it went on, but I went through a period where a native man was traveling through the dreaming worlds, dimensions, if that's what you want to call them. And he would show up. He was very tall, super slender, he always wore his hair loose, long white hair. And he would sing without a drum, and sometimes he'd sing with a drum. And it was always native, so I'd always get a sense of maybe what it sounded like. It was through the period where I was dealing with a lot of stuff, including brain tumor. So, sometimes I didn't know if I was hallucinating or if it was really happening, even though I've always been involved in the duty. I just had a lot of other things going on. Was terribly, terribly ill. So one occasion, my asking, I guess, of if this native man was real or not, he started singing me this really heavy, fast beat song, like a quickening kind of a thing. And it was so loud in my head and in my car, but most of the time other people didn't hear it. And so I pulled up and parked and went inside, and my roommate said, "Wow, that's a really great, CD, native CD." And I said, "It wasn't a native CD. It's the native man who has been, coming to sing to me." So the native man looked very Hopi to me, right? And this comes along where I'm headed with this journey. And though I've studied with a lot of native people, I stand more with native people, even though I'm white. But I think it's because of my father's Russian side, the shamanism side of me that resonates more with native people, and I understand more native people. So I feel sometimes very isolated being white because I don't fit into that world, and I don't, and I'm, not allowed sometimes on reservations and other things because I, am white. And Native people have a lot of, emotional issues around white people, which they should. They should protect themselves from white people. I protect myself from white people. But brown people really know where it's at, whether black, brown, Asian, Native, Original, Abo. They understand, they understand the history of this planet, like far, 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 far back to the beginning. And they have oral history that's not written in books, that still to this day is passed down about that history of this world and this reality. So, I just realized, like, I'm going to run out of gas. So I'm going to beeline it to the gas station really quick while I talk to you. Sorry about that. Anyway, I just want to finish what I was talking about. So what happened today, was that I'm getting ready, to kind of face what I need to face. And that's always been a critical thing for me, face my own inner truth. And, I know kind of like a lot about it, but, letting my star self, I think, fully surface is like a whole other, reality. Sometimes you just don't know what's in there. And I expect that it's pretty light. It's pretty, who knows. I may learn a lot of things that, I just don't know. So anyway, so I was thinking about, today why white people or truthers or people that think they're conscious, that are kind of trapped in this whole like new age environment, like why, I understand that Native people, Aboriginal people, they've tried, they've attempted to get out into the global community, and they've attempted to try to explain and teach, like real oral history, like the history of how everything was created here, and all of the different races. I always get it confused, the 7 or 6 nations that came when this was created in order to create creation, that we would work together, that it would work together. And, so let's just say it's the brown people, not as a racist thing, right? That the brown people that were all here, we're placed here with the ceremonies and the technologies that they had. And I'm not talking about metal machines, none of that stuff. That's not really true technology. The true technology is in the ceremony that a lot of Native people that have had, or different tribes. There's a reason why they do the kind of dancing they do. There's a reason why they do the kind of songs that they do and the certain languages that they do them. There's a reason why they make certain instruments, and the instruments have to be done in a certain precise way, and the songs have to be done in a certain precise way. So it's to activate, it's an activation. You don't need to go make a machine to travel through time. You don't need a machine to do that. You could do that on your own. You just have to activate the right frequency in order to do it. You don't even need ayahuasca or DMT or peyote to take you through those into those worlds to gain information or knowledge. So I was thinking today, like, I just see so much like New Age stuff. And I think, why don't they want to know the truth? Why are the New Agers, truthers, people who think they're conscious, why are they so stuck in the white man history and trying to dig through the white man history, trying to find the truth within the white man history? It's because they have a desire, a need to know who they are in that history. Unfortunately, it's kind of sad because they're, never going to know the totality of that information and that history, about who they are. I mean, well, it'll go back to being, other beings coming here and needing to rape the resources, and then thus, humans were created, the white people races were created to be slaves, because the original peoples, the brown people, wanted nothing to do with harming the earth. Wanted nothing to do. You couldn't kill them. You couldn't threaten them with death. To this day, you can't threaten them with death. They know better. And their oral history says that the earth is the same as them. And they're not going to dig a hole into her. They're not going to cut her. They're not going to take her resources, especially for profit. That you're just not going to be able to get them to do it. Because they have a traditional oral history that goes back to, before creation. They were part of the creation. They made contracts and agreements to be here from other worlds, to participate in something that was going to be amazing, and it just turned out to be like a complete nightmare. So I realized, right, that I'm going to put you guys back up here for a minute. Whoops. It's no real good. I need like a separate ledge. I need like another ledge for my thingy. So I realized, like, that's why they're concerned with that. That they're concerned. They think that's the beginning of time. The white history, or all these weird civilizations that were, they're digging up. The ETs, will tell you that some of it was put here as a design, right? To kind of prove the history of, like, the Illuminati or whatever. It goes back to Egypt and the time of Egypt. And a lot of these were extraterrestrials that came here. And so, of course, they built the pyramids. The pyramids were their castles and their kingdoms. And, then, the pyramids stopped and they went to building castles, right? And then, that's just how they are. But, they still have the pyramid forms everywhere. And it isn't just something they've adopted. So the white history goes back to them creating some kind of proof that, that's their history, right? Trying to figure it out. But the history goes back further. So I got this insight this morning when I was asking Creator, like, why is this New Age stuff? And the Creator showed me, because they have a need to figure out what their history is. And so they're diving into the white history and finding the truth within the lies of the white history or whatever else. I don't think there's, which dates back to the pyramids, because there are a lot of extraterrestrials, Nefertiti and Akhenaten, they were extraterrestrials. We got a lot of extraterrestrials that founded things as soon as there was, like, kind of white races. So they kind of found their way here. Native people have a totally, native people that do have extraterrestrial contact, a lot of the elders, they have different relationships with all the extraterrestrials. because they're protected, because they are protected. They will carry this world on again. That's what they do. They carry the world on, and they heal the world after the extinctions, and then they bring it back, and through their ceremonies, which are technologies. And so they'll do it again, when everything gets, destroyed. So a lot of this information's never been written in books about the native people and their belief systems and whatever else. You have to go there in person kind of thing. And you have to tread through a lot of hardship because, they're not going to just accept you for face value. I've had some really awful experiences dealing with native people, but, I deserve them on some level. It's part of my job, showing their white and blue eye to, bridge the aisle, step over the aisle and shake their hand and apologize to them for what has happened to them in the past, help to assure them that, I'm there to do the right thing in a good way, in a good heart, and to understand and learn more knowledge and learn the ceremonies and learn the information in the best way that I can. And I can be a booger too. It's hard to let go sometimes of stuff, of training and manipulation and fear and stuff. So we have to look past further. We have to start looking past further to when it was all created, when the whole earth was created. And we have to look to the native people and their books and their stories and all of this has never really been reported. It's still handed down oral. And there's a reason for that, because so it can't be misinterpreted. And it can't be changed. And that the ceremony, the song, their technology that they're teaching goes along with the oral history and the story. And it's a steps and a journey that cannot be understood until you walk that path, till you walk your talk and talk your walk. And so it is by experience that these things are shared. So we have to really seriously, as New Age, consciousness, I'm sorry I get down on New Age people. I get down on people who consider themselves consciousness and channelers and galactic, followers and all this other stuff. And it's because it doesn't fit in my reality. It doesn't fit with native people. So that their stuff goes further back to the very beginning. And all this other stuff is paintings that were added to the gallery after the fact because of somebody's perceived reality. And that's what history is based on, mostly white history or truth or history. It's based on perspective, where you are in that history, and how you present that history at that time. But there's a longer history from the beginning of creation, which is not the Bible or any of these other things too. That's a perceived reality on history, perspective on somebody's reality on history. So I think, there's a lot of frustration out there for the native people and the elders. I just read something this morning about how the Hopi elders, have really resigned themselves to not dealing with the global community because, nobody's listening. they're like the greatest scholars on earth about the whole history of everything. And nobody wants to listen to them. Nobody wants to listen to them tell their stories. And some people think it takes too long and they're not listening and they're impatient. But there's a way that the story is told that is an activation that activates the information not only through the story but into your DNA sequence, so that not only do you hear the story or you understand it, that you can go back in through the timelines to the original story on different levels to fully understand. So it's a process, right? It's a unfolding. It's a knowledge. It's a wisdom. It's a activation. And it comes with rites of passage. And so anyway, I just kind of wanted to put this video out today because it was also kind of me coming to some conclusions about the white world and being in the white world and trying to figure out how to bridge, the old world to the new world so that more people can kind of grasp what's going on, and so they're not taken in by basically these lies and other things that are transpiring, right? So anyway, I wish for the awakening. Like my teacher Bavado used to say, we can do this the hard way or we can do this the easy way. And the easy way is to get back to the ceremonies and the business of healing our mother, the earth, and getting her frequency and her vibration up high enough, which takes us all participating in the ceremonies and learning the ceremonies from the native people that have been traditionally done and traditionally taught for eons. Or we can do this the hard way, which is keep going down the road we are, and this new age crap and people asleep and this crazy stuff that's going on, and people opening portholes and people doing this and people doing that and creating more damage, more rips and tears for the earth, suffering. And that all these new age people don't want to be here because they want ascension. They want to go to another planet instead of be here with the mother now and be involved with the healing and restoration of the sixth world that is emerging, but will happen through destruction if not enough people get on board. So we either are going to blow this reality up, rock the boat, kill 95% of the population off. Most of them will be harvested off by the bad ETs before that happens, because they want to take you to another slave planet. They got work for you. And then they can utilize your body for food. And then, or we can come together in a global community and start listening to the elders, the native elders, the original people elders, and fix it, heal it, restore it, and not have to go through the bad shift. So anyway, say this with a deep, sorrow on my heart, because it's so unnecessary, really. But anyway, today, lots of prayer I'm doing with the Creator today, and to start this journey that I'm going to be going down and I'm headed down, because I know now where I need to go and where I need to head, and I need to stop messing around. I gotta stop messing around. So anyway, I wish you a blessed day. This is Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, Consciousness of Economics and Urban Farm Project. Bye-bye.